INFJs beware, betrayal doesn't come from enemies, but from friends. How many times have you felt betrayed, not by a stranger, but by someone you considered a friend? For INFJs, this sting is sharper than most. It's easy to believe that betrayal only comes from those we distrust, but in the world of an INFJ, betrayal often hides behind the guise of close friendships, leaving you feeling betrayed, alone, and questioning your ability to trust. In this video, we're diving deep into why, as an INFJ, betrayal is often not about the enemies you can see, but the friends you thought you could trust. Stay tuned, because we'll uncover the truths behind these painful experiences and provide actionable insights to help you navigate them. You are not alone in this struggle, and your emotional health is paramount. 1. The idealism of friendship and its pitfalls. INFJs often see the world through rose-colored glasses when it comes to friendships. They value loyalty and deep emotional connection, making them believe that true friends will never betray them. This idealism, however, can cloud their judgment, leading them to overlook subtle red flags. Think about the friend who seemed to always be there for you, but over time, you started noticing their lack of empathy for your struggles, or worse, they started sharing your personal stories with others, betraying your trust in subtle but devastating ways. Learn to balance your idealism with discernment. Trust your instincts and set boundaries, even with those you deeply care about. Recognizing the difference between idealized friendship and reality will help you protect your emotional well-being. 2. Overextending yourself and the consequences. INFJs are natural givers, often putting their friends' needs above their own. But when this selflessness isn't reciprocated, it leads to burnout and resentment. The betrayal comes when those same friends take advantage of your willingness to help, without giving anything back. Perhaps you've been the one to listen to your friends' problems time and time again, offering your time and emotional support. But when it's your turn to lean on them, they're nowhere to be found. Establish healthy boundaries. Learn to recognize when you're overextending yourself and be comfortable saying no. Protect your energy by ensuring that your kindness doesn't become an avenue for others to exploit. 3. The silent betrayal, when friends don't speak up for you. INFJs value honesty and expect their friends to stand up for them when they're being mistreated. Betrayal can occur when a friend stays silent during moments when you need support, either because they don't want to get involved or because they silently agree with your adversary. A close friend watches as someone insults you or belittles you, but instead of speaking up, they remain passive, avoiding confrontation altogether. In your heart, you know they didn't have your back. Recognize the difference between silence and neutrality. It's important to be surrounded by people who are willing to stand by you, even when it's uncomfortable for them. Don't be afraid to express your feelings and let them know you need their support in moments of vulnerability. 4. Emotional manipulation under the guise of friendship. Some friends can be emotional manipulators, using guilt and subtle manipulation to make you feel obligated to do things you don't want to do. This form of betrayal is especially painful for INFJs because it preys on your empathy and desire to avoid conflict. You have a friend who constantly uses emotional guilt to make you feel bad for saying no to their requests. They make you feel like a terrible person for not helping them, even when you're already stretched thin. Set firm emotional boundaries and trust your feelings of discomfort. Learn to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate you emotionally and be prepared to stand your ground, even if it means disappointing someone. 5. The betrayal of disloyalty. INFJs take loyalty seriously, so when a friend betrays that trust, whether through gossip, dishonesty, or backhanded comments, it feels like a deep cut. The person you trusted and confided in has now shattered that bond. A friend you confided in shares your most intimate struggles with others, either intentionally or out of thoughtlessness. This breach of trust leaves you feeling exposed and vulnerable. Be mindful of where you place your trust. It's important to share your deepest thoughts with those who have earned your trust over time. Set the expectation early on in any friendship that loyalty and confidentiality are non-negotiable. 6. Friendship as a means to an end. Unfortunately, not all friendships are genuine. Some individuals will only be around when it benefits them, leaving you when they no longer need you. INFJs often struggle with the realization that some friendships are transactional, rather than rooted in mutual care. A friend who's always there when they need a favor, but when it's your turn, they suddenly become distant, unavailable, or uninterested. They've used you for their own gain. Be vigilant in recognizing when a friendship feels one-sided. Establish clear boundaries about what you are willing to give, and ensure that you're in relationships where both people feel valued equally. 7. The passive-aggressive friend. INFJs are highly attuned to energy, and when a friend is passive-aggressive, it can create an atmosphere of confusion and emotional exhaustion. Betrayal doesn't always come in the form of direct confrontation. Sometimes, it's more insidious, like covert hostility or undermining comments disguised as jokes. A friend makes backhanded comments about you, saying things like, "You're lucky you have the time to do that," or "I wish I could be as carefree as you," all while masking their jealousy or resentment. Confront passive-aggressive behavior head-on, even when it feels uncomfortable. You have the right to call out passive aggression and set the tone for healthier, more direct communication in your relationships. 8. The betrayal of disrespecting boundaries. For INFJs, boundaries are an essential part of preserving mental and emotional well-being. When a friend repeatedly disregards those boundaries, it can feel like a betrayal. Whether it's violating personal space, constantly pushing for your time, or dismissing your feelings, this type of betrayal erodes the foundation of a friendship. A friend constantly shows up uninvited, or pressures you into social situations that drain you, ignoring your need for alone time to recharge. Make your boundaries clear and non-negotiable. It's important to be assertive about your needs, whether that's taking time for yourself or respecting your emotional limits. If a friend disregards those boundaries, it's a red flag that the friendship may not be as healthy as you think. 9. The betrayal of jealousy and envy. INFJs are often the target of subtle envy from friends, especially if they excel or receive recognition. This jealousy can create an undercurrent of betrayal, as it can lead to passive sabotage or subtle undermining of your successes. A friend who used to be supportive of your career achievements suddenly starts to make sarcastic comments or downplay your success, reflecting hidden jealousy. Recognize that jealousy often stems from insecurity. Don't internalize their feelings of inadequacy. Keep your circle close and surrounded by those who genuinely celebrate your wins, not those who secretly resent them. 10. The overdependent friend. INFJs naturally attract people who are emotionally dependent, as they are natural healers and caregivers. While helping others is a core part of who you are, it becomes a betrayal when someone leans on you constantly without ever offering emotional support in return. A friend constantly calls you for advice, help, or emotional support, but when you need them, they're unavailable or uninterested. Cultivate friendships that are balanced, where both parties feel emotionally supported. It's okay to step back from relationships that are draining and one-sided. Your emotional health comes first. 11. Betrayal of trust, the friend who withholds. Another form of betrayal comes when a friend withholds important information, either to manipulate a situation or to keep power over you. INFJs can feel this betrayal deeply because their friendships are built on mutual trust and transparency. A friend purposefully keeps information from you, like a change of plans, a decision that directly affects you, or something that you should know, leaving you out in the dark. Communication is key. Be upfront with your friends about your need for transparency. If a friend withholds important information, confront them respectfully and ask why they chose not to share. 12. Betrayal by gaslighting. Gaslighting is a subtle but dangerous form of emotional manipulation where a person makes you question your perception of reality. This can be a form of betrayal, as it makes you doubt your own feelings, memories, and experiences. A friend continually downplays your feelings or tells you that something you're upset about didn't happen or wasn't that big of a deal. Trust yourself and your experiences. If someone makes you question your own reality, it's time to set clear boundaries. You don't need to explain or justify your feelings to anyone. 13. The friend who makes you feel invisible. One of the most painful betrayals comes when a friend constantly overlooks your feelings, needs, and presence. INFJs value being seen and understood, so when a friend makes you feel invisible, it can leave lasting emotional scars. You share something deeply personal with a friend, only for them to ignore it or brush it aside. This constant neglect over time creates a sense of isolation, even in a supposed friendship. Don't be afraid to speak up when you feel ignored or unseen. Healthy relationships involve mutual respect, and your voice deserves to be heard. If a friend dismisses you repeatedly, it might be time to reevaluate the friendship. 14. Letting go, knowing when to end a friendship. At some point, INFJs must recognize that not every friendship is meant to last. When betrayal becomes a constant pattern, it's essential to know when to walk away. A friend has repeatedly crossed boundaries, manipulated you, or hurt you, yet you continue to hold on, hoping they'll change. The truth is, sometimes, the best way to protect yourself is to let go. Trust that ending toxic friendships is an act of self-care. It's okay to outgrow people who no longer align with your values or treat you with respect. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, it's a step toward healing and creating space for healthier relationships. Betrayal is a painful, often unexpected part of life, especially for INFJs who value loyalty and emotional connection. But while betrayal is inevitable at times, how you respond to it defines your growth and emotional resilience. Remember, your self-worth is not defined by the actions of others. By setting boundaries, trusting your instincts, and walking away from relationships that no longer serve you, you will continue to create healthier connections. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you experienced betrayal from a friend? How did you handle it? Let's discuss and support one another in healing from these difficult experiences. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.